Hi guys, I'm Mama Bear to Many. I am mom to 15. So if you hear giggles in the background, it's some of my children. So today, actually my daughter put together this whole video. This is stuff that they've been eating at the Wells house. If you don't know, we're actually kind of living in two separate houses for medical reasons right now. And so some of us are at Ronald McDonald House and some of us are in a rented house in Wells. So in that house, this is what she had put together for the month. First off, she was sharing with me the items that we have left from all of the canned goods, because we took everything off our rolly rack is what we call it. It's like one of those like shelf stable, shelf reliance rolly racks. So we took all that stuff out and brought it down here to be good for the pantry challenge. So we are trying to use that stuff up. So I'm actually sitting here right now making February's menu, and I have a list of the stuff that she just said off of that. So in this video here, she does not use too many of these items, but you guys will see these items listed at the end of it to be used for the next couple videos. So today, this is just what she put together. I'm hoping that I do an okay voiceover. You may hear me crackle my voice a little bit because I'm losing my voice. So, or lost it and it came back and then it's going again. I don't know. But here's some food ideas. This is what we've been eating. Okay guys, here we go with sweet and sour meatballs with rice and green beans. Can you tell? We have some kids in the background. Yes, we do. This is so delicious. Oh my goodness, I wish I was there eating this with them. So she is going to tell us what we're going to do. We need 4 cups of rice and then some meatballs. Then we're using up these canned green beans. We need arrowroot or cornstarch, Worcestershire sauce, soy or coconut aminos. We prefer coconut aminos, then some brown sugar. So these are all the ingredients that we are going to need to use. So you can use leftover rice or you can make some new rice. You can put water and or broth in, and then we'll cook up our meatballs. So she's going to do 1 cup of brown sugar. You can also do, if you wanted to, you could use swerve. And then you're going to do pineapple, and you're going to leave the juice, just dump the whole can of pineapple in. That is one of our food storage things as well. 3 tablespoons of arrowroot powder. You could use cornstarch, you could use flour, whatever works in your household. So just 3 tablespoons of that. 1 and 1/2 tablespoons of soy sauce or coconut aminos, 1 or 1/2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. And yes, this is spelled wrong. We know that. Oops, typo. We can't correct it at this point. So you're going to mix this a little bit and then you're going to go to cook it. And she is cooking this at the Wells house, which is a bigger kitchen than Ronald McDonald's. So you're going to do it about 20 minutes and give it a stir. Let those meatballs defrost. Yum, they look so good. So she heated up the green beans, and by this time the rice is done. The rice, it depends on your Instapot if you are using the rice button, or for white rice it's usually just like 5 minutes, and then brown I think it's 12 or something like that. I don't know, I'm not for sure. It depends on your Instapot, so make sure you check your own Instapot's like directions for that. So the meatballs, and oh my goodness, this is gluten-free too, guys. Yes, and it could technically be a lower carb meal. How you could have this lower carb would be to have just those meatballs on the side using the swerve, and then you could just add additional vegetables. Okay, here we go with the next one. It's going to be carrots and potatoes and milk and chicken, coconut oil and coconut aminos, and some seasonings. So let's do this. So she has the chicken, potatoes, and carrots cooking. She's throwing in some coconut oil here, and she's gonna cook up that chicken, just sauteing that into the pan. So she's adding some garlic, salt, garlic powder. Did you notice at the beginning of this video, I said I dear, and that's how I always say I dear. Somebody the other day literally messaged me and was like, did you realize that the governor of Maine just said I dear on TV? And I was like, no, but Yes. Kind of funny. Yes, it's the main thing. So cooking up this chicken, yum, yum, yum. I would just eat it like that. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. And then she made some mashed potatoes to go with that. You make mashed potatoes the way you make mashed potatoes, and we'll make mashed potatoes the way we do. We do it all different all the time. Sometimes we do ranch mashed potatoes. Sometimes with homemade ranch dressing or ranch powder. Sometimes we could cream cheese in it. That's really yummy. Sometimes I do a lot of garlic, like garlicky mashed potatoes. It's one of my favorite. I love it. Yeah, so carrots, chicken, mashed potatoes, and that is a lovely meal. Yum. Oh my goodness, this is so bad because I'm doing this voiceover looking at this food and like, ooh, I wish I could eat that right now because that is so yummy. Look at that. Look at that chicken. It looks so delicious. You could also, if you wanted to, like dip that chicken in something. Here we go with the next recipe. So we need salt and pepper, all the seasonings, some milk. We have some broth there in the back. We have peas and carrots and potatoes, some eggs, baking powder, cornmeal, all-purpose flour. She's using up that all-purpose flour because we only are using gluten-free now, but we had that for her to use up. So here we have our big pan, which we brought from the other house, which is lovely to be able to put items in. So she put some butter in here, and now she's adding some broth. You could add whatever kind you want. She has chicken broth here. She has a quart of the chicken broth with the butter, and then she's going to add some arrowroot powder. You could also add cornstarch. You could add flour, whatever you wanted to add. You're basically just making a thickened, like emulsion type thing. You could also make a roux with, say, like onions and celery, or you could do it with, green peppers or something like that. Saute some vegetables in butter and then throw some thickener in there and then add broth to that. You could do it that way as well. However you like to do your thing, then you do your thing. She's now adding some milk into there. She has, let's see, 3, 4, I don't know how big she's actually making this. So she's doing 4 cups of the milk. So now she just added whatever vegetables that she had in. We also had a bag of leftover turkey. So basically when we cook our turkeys, say for like a meal, then we'd cut that off and then we'd boil down the carcasses. And then we would take that meat, if we had any extras and we didn't feel like making something into it right then, we might cut that all up and then just put it in a bag. And then we would have that for a later meal. So here she is making 2 separate 9x13 pans of this. So this is like the typical like one for now, one for later type scenario, and we love doing this. So she is making 2. So she's just going to dump that in there. I think she used green beans and carrots, potatoes. You can use really whatever vegetables you have on hand. So you basically have a cream sauce that you made, and then you're adding your vegetables and your chicken, whatever vegetables you want to do, in a thickened sauce and put it on the bottom of a pan. You could make this smaller or you could make this bigger. This stuff also could be fine just to like plop on top of mashed potatoes. That is super yummy like that. You could have like leftover stuffing and mashed potatoes or whatever, and then throw that on top. So right here, what she is doing is she made a cornbread mix, and this time she did not make it gluten-free, but often we make gluten-free like that. And so we'll just do cornbread. You could even buy those little Jiffy packs and do cornbread and just throw it on top there. So she was just throwing all of this on top, and it kind of just cooks into it and gives it that bread and that bulk to the dish. So she's now gonna put this beautiful thing into the oven, just kind of smushing it around. It does not need to be perfect, guys. You should know this by now. I am not a perfectionist, although maybe she is. I don't know. I think she's probably a little more perfectionist than I am. She makes things so beautiful. So she is just going to throw this into an oven. It's kind of funny. I'm like watching her. I've never actually cooked in the kitchen that she cooked in, which is interesting. I'm used to being like the cook or the one who cooks the most, but she's doing such a good job. So beautiful. So she's going to put 2 in there. Oh my goodness, doesn't that look great? My husband loves this. I bet this meal definitely blessed her brothers and sisters and my husband. My husband absolutely loves this. He loves this, and he loves chicken noodle soup, like any like chicken base like that. She did such a beautiful job. Look at that. That is gorgeous. Yum. All the vegetables in there. I see peas in there and green beans. Yeah, beautiful. You could even use like a mixed vegetable frozen mix if you wanted to. Look at that. Lovely. Doesn't make you want. Okay, guys, next meal here we have some coconut oil, some meat, beef and pork, some different seasonings, onions, tomato paste, broth. Yeah, bunch of stuff. Let's see what she's going to put in here. First, she's going to chop up the onions and the hamburger and pork, whatever you have, and put in some oil, and she's going to cook this up like this. Then through the magic of video, it is all set. So now she added some broth in there into the cooked hamburger meat. It's hard to see because all the steam in there. Yeah, so she added some broth in there. And then she's going to add some seasonings in there. I think she was using chili powder. So she's just adding a little bit of water in this tomato sauce jar so that she would have some more liquid. And she's adding this tomato paste here to thicken things up. Well, not to thicken it up, just to give it a good yummy flavor. Tomato paste, guys, tomato paste. So she's putting this in here. Then she's going to add some seasonings in just a minute, I believe. Now she's going to add some rice into here. I think she's going to do 2 cups or 1.5 cups of rice. Then mix that all up in here. And I think that would have been 3 cups of water earlier. You're just wanting it to like all work together. And then she'll take and cover the top here to let that rice cook up for a little bit. I don't have a specific time. There's some salt. I don't have a specific time. It really depends on how much you're cooking up at once. Usually I think that rice is done when it starts steaming out the sides of the pan. But I would check, just lift it in like 15 minutes and see if it's done. So now she's mixing up some mashed potatoes to go with this. What are your favorite ways to make mashed potatoes? Do you have one favorite recipe that is like your go-to recipe? I used to have a friend who loved having her husband make mashed potatoes, and he did make some really good mashed potatoes. Sometimes if somebody is dairy-free, then I'll end up putting some broth in there, and that can really taste really good too. Instead of using like your liquid. But I mean, overall, we usually use real butter and milk or cream, depending on what we have, and then adding seasonings to that. If we have pork chops, sometimes we make our homemade like ranch seasoning dip, and sometimes I'll add a couple spoons of like that seasoning to the mashed potatoes as well, and that's really good. So here she is going to plate this up. Oh my goodness, so yummy. Mashed potatoes. And then she's going to add that rice and meat mixture on top of that. There are so many ways that you could eat that rice and meat mixture. I mean, you could even have it in a bowl and top some cheese on top of it and just eat it like that with a side salad. You could, she's putting some cheese on. She knew me. I needed some cheese on top of that. So she threw some cheese on top of it and then some vegetables. Yeah, great meal. I didn't even see the cheese to the side, and she was reading my tummy. So, yeah, you can do it however you want to do it. You could eat it plain. You could have bread and just kind of like have it in a bowl and then kind of like scoop it up with your bread. You could have it over like biscuits. You would be you and you have your own thing. So here, another night was spaghetti and meatballs, using up that pasta again, guys. And then the carrot sticks. So that is what they had that night. They had some bags of pre-frozen meatballs. So we're trying to use those up. So what do we have here? We have some meatloaves that we had in the freezer. So this looks like one of our freezer meals. So we just had some freezer meal meatloaf that she served up right there. And then you could have it with any side. That looks like she had some rice with that. And then some green beans. Yep, there we go. Green beans. I'm dying for some green beans. I should cook myself some green beans. So lovely. Actually, that's mashed potatoes. I was thinking that was rice. I was looking from far away. Guys, I'm tired. Anyway, mashed potatoes, green beans, and meatloaf. Okay, what's up here? We got some potatoes and carrots and some meat and lemon juice and some seasonings. We're cooking up that hamburger in here, just sauteing it with an onion. And then we're adding potatoes and carrots in there. Stirring all that goodness up. She does so good making these tiny little pieces of stuff. I have like big old hunks, but people prefer smaller pieces, don't they? I mean, I do. I like eating it more. Why don't I just take the time to make like appropriate size, bite-sized pieces? Yes, I need to be better about that. I'm so glad my daughter is doing better than I am with that. So she has the potatoes and carrots, and it looked like some onion in the beginning, and then she's adding some water in there. You could probably add like beef broth as well if you wanted to. Or maybe she did have beef broth. No, that's water. Okay. So now she just added some seasonings and then some cheese on top. Yum. Quick and easy soup. You could serve this with anything you wanted to. Bread, biscuit. You could serve it like this. You could even dip some chips in. So the following canned goods are going to be what we're going to use over the next couple weeks.
Okay, so for all the cans from the rolly rack, we have 7 sweetened condensed milk, coconut milk, which is here. Yes. There's 20 coconut milks. Pineapple is 5, and coconut cream. Oh yeah, 7. Like, where did it go? 7 coconut creams, and then the green beans. 17 tomato paste, 20 evaporated milk, only 4 chicken noodle soup. There are 11, and then sweetened condensed milk that are dairy free is 17. Garzabo beans, otherwise known as chickpeas. What you doing? 5 tomato chunks and chilies, which are those 16. The chili beans, so there's 6 of those. Cranberry sauce, 4. Tomato soup, there's just 3. And then mushroom soup. I actually think some of them might be chicken, but the mushroom is... How many? Oh yeah, 7.